everyone, it's Sal here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. So today we're going to be having a look at some vanilla fragrances. I do have a lot here today actually. I tried to narrow it down to maybe a top 5 or a top 10 even, but I just couldn't take any off the list because they're all kind of interesting in their own way, you know? So we have a very wide range of different kinds of vanilla scents today, you guys. I'm hoping there will be something here for everyone. Quite a few of these are fairly new to me, fragrances I've kind of been sampling or I've only just recently discovered, you know? And we do also have some old favourites in my collection, so it's a really interesting mix today, you know? So without further ado, it's time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink and a snack, and let's get started with today's video. So first up today we have Nishane's 100 Silent Ways. Now this is a beautiful fragrance. I actually received this wee decant from Lizzie from Rose & Jones quite a wee while ago, so thank you very much, Lizzie. Now I'd tried it a few times but I never really paid it much attention until very recently, and it is actually a stunning creamy soft vanilla kind of scent. I've been wearing it today actually, so it is my scent of the day. I'm just gonna spray some more onto this wee test strip here. So the notes of 100 Silent Ways, we have tuberose, peach, mandarin orange, gardenia, orris, jasmine, vanilla, sandalwood and vetiver. So that's a really nice sort of combination of notes. I really enjoy tuberose, I like gardenia, I enjoy jasmine, and the base notes there are quite nice as well, vanilla and sandalwood. The only note in here that I'm not too fond of really is vetiver, but I don't really smell that much in here, to be honest. This is overall a very diffused, creamy, soft scent. This fragrance is so well blended, I would say. It's very, very creamy, kind of softly sweet, but not overly sweet at all. It's kind of funny because something this actually reminded me of was black opium, and I'm wondering if it's because of the creamy white florals in here. You know, maybe they're kind of similar to the white florals in black opium, but they both have a very similar sweet creamy sort of nature to them. Yeah, they definitely remind me of each other to a certain extent. I mean, they're not, you know, dupes or anything like that. 100 Silent Ways doesn't have any coffee. It's not really, it's not as sweet as black opium and things like that, and it doesn't have the pear either, so they're not really the same. But from the point of view of the creamy white florals and the vanilla, from that point of view, they do kind of remind me of each other a wee bit, which I was quite pleasantly surprised at when I was wearing this today, because as most of you probably know by now, I do really enjoy my black opium scent. Even if you're not a fan of black opium, I wouldn't necessarily be put off this one. It's more refined, I would say. You know, this has more of an elegant sort of feeling to it. This is much softer. This is a very diffused, easygoing, mild, very, very feminine kind of vanilla and floral kind of fragrance. You do also get some fruity nuances in here from the mandarin orange, from the peach, just kind of in the top notes. Overall, this is an absolutely stunning fragrance. I am sort of considering purchasing a full bottle. I do have a fair bit left of my decant though, so I'll just show you. I have quite a bit left, as you can see, so I'm not feeling like I need to purchase it in a hurry or anything like that. But I think, you know, once I run out of this, it could possibly go on my wish list. So that is the gorgeous Nishane's 100 Silent Ways. Next up today we have this fragrance here, Italica from Xerjoff. Now, as some of you may know if you saw my recent video, I was kind of on the fence with this fragrance. It was a blind buy, and upon the first sniff I wasn't overly impressed. It kind of reminded me of a dusty candle. It wasn't really my cup of tea, I didn't think, you know, at first. It's a very dry scent, and you know, overall I just wasn't really bowled over by it. But I will say I've been wearing this more and more since I purchased it, and it is definitely growing on me. I would say I'm kind of at a point now where I'm really liking this. I wouldn't say it's a love, but I am really, really enjoying this now, to the point where it may become a love kind of in the future. I think this fragrance, it's not really super simplistic, you know, it does have something about it. I think something I've noticed about myself is if I smell a fragrance that's so different, you know, to anything I've ever tried before, or if it's a fragrance that's done in a way that I'm not used to, then I can kind of easily dismiss that, if you know what I mean. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced this yourself, you know, but this is quite different to the type of scent I would normally use. You know, I'm not used to this kind of fragrance. This is very dry. So the notes of Italica, we have almond, milk, saffron, toffee, vanilla, sandalwood, cedar and musk as well. Now I would say that the woody notes in here with the kind of the toffee and the almond especially, they're quite strong, and also the saffron. So those notes are quite strong to the point where this actually smells quite dry to me. Almost if you imagine powdered almonds, like ground up almonds with, you know, woods. The combination of the almond with the woody notes and the saffron, it creates this very dry feeling to the scent, if that makes sense. But like I say, the more I've been wearing it, the more I've been enjoying it. Now I would say it kind of reminds me of a chai latte, like a very frothy, kind of spicy chai latte, you know, a thick, creamy, kind of spiced sweet drink. It also kind of reminds me of biscuits as well, like a crumbly, almondy, toffee biscuit, which is quite nice, you know. And it does have that vanilla in there also. So I would say if you're looking for quite an unusual, indulgent, gourmand scent with prominent notes of vanilla, toffee and almonds, then I would definitely check this one out, but I wouldn't blind buy it. Don't do what I did, because, you know, I don't know, I think it would be very hit or miss with people because it does have that dry texture to it. It is somewhat reminiscent of a scented candle as well. And I can see this not being for everyone, you know. I think you would either love it or not enjoy it so much, you know, so just be wary of that. Sorry, I keep moving my hair. I tried to do something today with it. I tried to do like a flicky thing. I might just tuck it behind my ear. There we go. There we go, that's much better. So yeah, I would say I'm really enjoying this one now. It kind of reminds me of the festive sort of time of year, Christmas time, Christmas markets, spices, warm, sweet, frothy drinks, you know, and kind of cookies, biscuits, cinnamon biscuits, that type of thing. I'm definitely growing to enjoy this one more and more the more I wear it, and I'm hoping that eventually it will become a total love. So that is Xerjoff's Italica. Next up today we have the gorgeous Gransoir from Maison Francis Kurkjian. I do have my little sample of this one here that I have used kind of most of, but I do have a little bit left. Now the notes of this fragrance, we have amber, benzoin, vanilla and tonka bean, so quite a simple note profile actually. And this fragrance is just beautiful, you guys. If you're looking for a very, very warm, sweet, ambery vanilla scent, I would definitely check this one out. This is beautiful. Upon the first spray, it's a bit spicier, like in a soft way, but it is a bit spicier. And then once it dries down onto your skin, it kind of gets sweeter and smoother. And it almost reminds me of like a gooey vanilla cake or something like that. But it's very amber heavy as well. So this is a very warm, inviting, sensual fragrance. Perfect for a date night or an evening, some sort of special occasion of an evening, you know. And particularly throughout the autumn and winter, this would be a fantastic cold weather fragrance because it just makes you feel all cozy. This truly is a stunning scent. I haven't decided if I will be investing in a full bottle myself. I'm not sure, maybe I will. I do find this to be quite similar to Ambre 114 from Histoire de Parfum. So I do own a 15ml of that perfume, so I don't know if I would necessarily feel the need to purchase a full bottle of this one. Maybe once I run out of the other one. I don't know, you guys, but it is a stunning fragrance regardless. If you don't already own something like this and you're looking for a very warm, sweet, kind of spicy, inviting, sensual amber vanilla type of scent, then I would definitely check out Gransoir. It's really very nice. Next up today we have the gorgeous Linder Intense from Givenchy. This is a relatively new addition to my collection and I absolutely adore this one, you guys. This one is so creamy and unusual and it has a lot of depth to it. It's quite sweet but not overly sweet. This fragrance it's really gorgeous actually. I would say for any tuberose lovers out there and vanilla lovers, I would say you're probably gonna love this. Wow, this fragrance is so smooth and I was not expecting that from this at all. I was expecting this to be a very like sharp kind of abrasive scent and it's not that at all. So the notes of this fragrance, we have black pepper, tuberose, sesame, orange blossom, vanilla, patchouli and vetiver. And I was expecting this fragrance to be quite sharp because of the black pepper note in here, but honestly that just gives it kind of a depth. And it sort of tempers the sweetness as well. This fragrance it's so unusual. I think particularly due to that sesame note in there, it just adds a real, almost a gourmand kind of quality to this that you don't get in the original Linder. They are very different in my opinion. So this is a very creamy, kind of vanillic, gourmand, deep, interesting, unusual fragrance. And it actually reminds me of a black sesame mochi dessert that I had once. It really reminds, even the texture of this, even the kind of smooth, creamy, interesting, thick texture that this fragrance has, it just reminds me of that dessert. It really does. And from that point of view, it's also quite Moorish. I would say it's quite addicting. The only thing with this one is if you weren't a fan of a sesame note, then I would just be wary because to me it is quite a prominent note in here. The sesame with the vanilla is what makes it so beautiful to me, but then, you know, if you're not a fan of sesame, then just, you know, be wary of that. I would say out of all of the vanilla fragrances that I've tried kind of to date, this is up there with one of the most unusual. Just because of that black pepper note, the sesame notes, that Linder DNA, which you do smell in here, but I would say it is quite different to the original, and that kind of overall thick, creamy, Moorish, addicting texture that this has. It's so unusual to me and it's so special. Signature scent worthy, just because of how unusual it is. You wouldn't necessarily smell like everyone else because to me this smells very unique. It's still very likeable though, it's not too out there, you know, to the point where it smells a bit odd. It is very likeable to me and it's very alluring, very addictive, but it definitely smells quite unique. And I just really enjoy this one. I would highly recommend checking this one out. Maybe try and sample it. I wouldn't say that it's that safe a blind buy. Maybe if you know that you already enjoy sesame, vanilla and tuberose, then you may be okay to blind buy this one, but always be wary with that. Next up today we have the gorgeous Hypnotic Poison Eau de Toilette. Now I do also own the Eau de Parfum, but to me this one has more vanilla in it. It's definitely more of a vanillic kind of creamy fragrance, whereas the Eau de Parfum is spicier. It has more emphasis on the licorice and the tonka bean, whereas the vanilla is much more prominent in here, so therefore I wanted to mention the Eau de Toilette version. This fragrance, you just cannot beat how good this smells. This is such a stunning scent. The only thing that's kind of a shame with this one is the strength of scent. My bottle is a newer version of the formulation, so it doesn't last that long. I mean, it kind of, if you spray a lot of it, then it will last longer, but I mean, it's not as strong as people have said that it used to be, if you know what I mean. So that's maybe kind of a downfall with this fragrance. But I mean, aside from that, it is stunning. So this fragrance has that very signature kind of almost Play-Doh-like scent to it, which I really enjoy. At first, I was really thrown off by that, actually. At first, I really, I didn't like that at all about it, but then I grew to love it. So it's this kind of vanilla and almond combination with a dry fruitiness in here, like a creamy, dry fruitiness from the plum, I believe. Just giving it this really interesting, unique, recognizable sort of scent, you know. I feel like the sandalwood in here as well adds a really soft, creamy, woody kind of touch, which just blends very nicely with the other notes, you know, like the vanilla, the almond. It's a very soft, creamy scent, very, very smooth, very addictive, kind of a really nice level of sweetness actually. I would say this is definitely a must try for any almond and vanilla lover, and actually if you love almond and vanilla, try these two because these both have those notes. I wouldn't necessarily blind buy them, you know, like I've said, I'm always very wary of I would never recommend blind buying any fragrance, you guys know that, but if you enjoy nutty notes and you really enjoy like sweet vanilla notes and fragrances, then definitely check these two out. So that's Italica and Hypnotic Poison Eau de Toilette. The nutty notes in both of these are pretty prominent, I would say, but more so in Italica, but they're both really, really nice. I just went away to get another coffee, and when I came back in the room I realised how wonderful it smelt in here, just with all the fragrances we've been spraying around. Next up today we have an absolute classic in my collection, and that is Lanresor Aliful from Lancôme. Now this one has really stood the test of time, seriously. Throughout all of the brutal declutters that I've done over the last year, this fragrance has remained, you know, a solid favourite, you know, up there with my fragrances that I'm confident I would never declutter, you know, so it is a staple in my collection. I've had this one for quite a wee while now, I would say well over a year anyway, and it is so, so good. Now this fragrance has, oh, I've already sprayed some on here so I can smell it. This fragrance is extremely pleasant and enjoyable and likable, but it's also very unique and unusual to me. Now, the only other fragrance that I've smelled that reminds me of this one is the Only One 2 from Dolce & Gabbana. Now, I actually moved that one on to a new home because that one was too centered around the berries for me. So that's a very jammy, like berry and rose kind of tart scent. Whereas this one is smoother and it's more centered around the vanilla. So the notes of Lanresor Aliful are red currant, pink pepper, pear and bergamot in the top, rose, violet, peony and jasmine in the heart notes, and bourbon vanilla, tonka bean, benzoin, nutmeg, ambroxan, patchouli and woody notes in the base. This fragrance is sweet, but it's not too, well, it is quite sweet, but to me it's not too sweet, I don't know. You definitely get the kind of bright, fruity berry top upon the first application, but when it dries down, it becomes this very interesting kind of rosy, floral, vanilla, woody, slightly spiced scent, and it's truly beautiful, you guys. The lasting power on this one is really good. It is strong, but it's not as beast mode as the original Lanresor, so it's not, you know, this isn't weak by any stretch of the imagination. This is a strong perfume, but if you were to compare it to the original Lanresor, this one would seem weaker, if you know what I mean. So the original Lanresor I would rate maybe 11 out of 10, you know, for its performance. This one I would say is like a 7 or an 8. So still very good. I would definitely recommend it, but it's not going to be as potent, you know, as the original Lanresor. That one filled up my whole home with like a few sprays. It was very intense. So this one here, this fragrance, it just brings a smile to my face, particularly in the kind of festive months, because this one just reminds me of baking, Christmas baking. It just makes me feel so incredibly cozy. I'm just going to spray a little bit more of this. And it really reminds me of mulled wine, actually. It really, really reminds me of like literally mulled wine, as if you had it right in front of you. Even the warmth from this makes me feel like, you know, the warm feeling that you get from mulled wine, baking, you know, So all of these things I'm describing would be warm. So the baking would be freshly baked and you would still feel the warmth from the cookies, you know, straight out the oven, and the mulled wine would be warm as well. So this has a warmth to it for sure, possibly from the nutmeg, possibly from the benzoin and the vanilla all together. It's truly beautiful actually. You know, if you like the idea of smelling like Christmas baking, mulled wine, or even if you just want to feel as though you're kind of walking through a Christmas market, then definitely check this one out. It is really, really beautiful. Oh, I'm worried I'm gonna run out of my wee test strips. We'll see how we get on. So next up today we have Dama Bianca from Zara. Now, this is a fragrance that is very, very new to me. This is my little sample here. This fragrance is light, it's airy, it's fresh, kind of citrusy, creamy, smooth, kind of suede-like, and it reminds me of kind of crisp linen blowing in the breeze. It has that freshness to it, almost like fresh air, like fresh mountain air or something like that. So the notes of Dama Bianca, we have kumquat, which is some fruit that I've never tried before, so I don't really know what that's necessarily like. There's lime as well, so really quite a tart, citrusy opening there between those two fruits, giving it kind of a luminosity, I would say. But anyway, so then we have iris, violet, jasmine, lilac, lily of the valley, and in the base notes we have vanilla, malt, amberette, musk, sandalwood, and cedar. This would be a perfect fragrance if you were looking for, you wanted a vanilla scent, you know, but you didn't want it to be all about that vanilla. You wanted something more to it, something a bit more interesting, but quite light and aloof. There's something almost slightly arrogant about this fragrance, maybe because it's kind of clean, light and airy, and it almost seems, it has that almost luxurious kind of feeling to it. This fragrance is reminding me of somebody, maybe somebody who's staying in a very luxurious hotel and they've just taken a bath with lots of luxurious products, and now they're lounging in like a silk robe or something like that. I don't know, drinking a little glass of champagne or something. That's the mood that this fragrance is giving me. It's very luxe, very, you know, aloof. It's sweet, slightly powdery and smooth, but it's also kind of crisp because of how like fresh and clean this feels to me. A really interesting vanilla scent indeed, unlike anything I've actually tried before, so it was really interesting testing this one out. I think the bottle that this one comes in is stunning. It definitely gives me luxe vibes, you know, like staying in a high-end luxurious hotel without a care in the world. That's basically how this smells to me. So that's a Dama Bianca from Zara. Next up today we have a fragrance from Givenchy, and that is Dahlia Divin le Nectar de Parfum Eau de Parfum Intense. Now this is a perfume that I've actually struggled to find the notes of. I do have notes written here that I found on Fragrantica, but that was based on the Dahlia Divin le Nectar Eau de Parfum fragrance, but this is the Intense, so I don't know how this would differ from that. I'm gonna read those notes regardless, because to me it smells like this anyway, but it's just to basically warn you that these may not be the accurate notes, because I can't seem to find this one anywhere online. This is the Intense version, but anyway, you guys. So on Fragrantica, the notes of Dahlia Divin le Nectar Eau de Parfum are mimosa, jasmine, rose, vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood, vetiver, and musk. And to me, this fragrance is a really velvety, cozy, kind of powdery, soft, enveloping fragrance. Kind of sweet, but not too sweet. Very naturally sweet, very, very addictive in a way. It's kind of Moorish to me. This would be perfect for every day. This is kind of like a casual, versatile everyday fragrance that you could wear dressed up or down, you know? Something I really notice about this one is how prominent the yellow florals are in here. So according to Fragrantica, there is mimosa. I wondered if there was maybe, you know, lang lang or frangipani, or to me this smells almost like a bouquet of yellow florals with a very fuzzy, kind of woody, vanillic. There's a soft brightness to this scent that gives it a very airy, sophisticated feeling, but it's still quite heavy and woody at the same time. It's really beautiful. The lasting power of this one is incredible, and it is very strong, but it's very soft. It's not a loud scent. This is a softly spoken fragrance that lasts a very long time, and it projects nicely as well. I absolutely love this fragrance, to be quite honest with you. I love having this one here as kind of like an easy reach. If I'm going somewhere and I really don't know what to wear, chances are I could reach for this one and be very happy with my choice, because this is almost like a chameleon kind of fragrance. It would suit any occasion, in my opinion. I really like the fact that, to me, this smells kind of mature. This smells like quite a grown-up, elevated kind of scent that has a really nice level of sweetness in here. It's not an overly sweet perfume, but it's nice for those days when I do still want kind of a fragrance with a vanilla sort of aspect in there, something kind of sweet and cozy and comforting, but I really don't want anything that's going to be sickly. You know, this is a fantastic fragrance for those kind of occasions. It is a beautiful fragrance. I hope that the notes that I've read out, I hope that they're kind of accurate, but like I say, I couldn't find any information on the intense version. So the notes I've read to you, they're based on the original, like the regular, the one of this, but not the intense. But anyway, so that is Dahlia Divin le Nectar de Parfum Eau de Parfum Intense. A really beautiful fragrance centered around yellow florals, woody notes and vanilla. Next up today we have a fragrance that I've actually gone and lost my sample of. I did smell it just before I started filming, so I can kind of remember what it smells like, but I really don't know what I've done with my sample of it. I'm a complete numpty. But Gentle Fluidity Gold from Maison France's Kurkjian. I can see this appealing to a lot of vanilla lovers. To me, it really reminded me of Rose's Vini from Mansera, which I have previously owned, and for that reason I don't really feel the need to pick this one up. But let me know in the comments if you notice that similarity as well. To me, it smells an awful lot like Rose's Vini. But you know, maybe there are some subtle differences there. Not enough to warrant me purchasing a full bottle, if you know what I mean. But the notes of Gentle Fluidity Gold are vanilla, amber, musk, woody notes, juniper berries, nutmeg and coriander. So it's kind of interesting that they have the berries, the nutmeg and the coriander in there. So that's kind of different to me, but overall the scent that I smelled, it was kind of the smooth, woody vanilla, warm kind of fragrance, very pleasant, but again, it reminded me a lot of Rose's Vini. So those are kind of my very brief first impressions of Gentle Fluidity Gold from Maison France's Kurkjian. Next up today we have Vanille Absolue from Montal. Now this fragrance is a very heavy, gourmand, sweet vanilla scent. You know, this is really vanilla to the extreme, I would say. I'm just going to spray a little bit on my arm there because I've run out of tester strips at this point. Yeah, this is intense. This almost reminds me of vanilla extract, but not as basic as that, you know. This smells nicer than just plain vanilla extract, but it's that kind of intensity, if you know what I mean. It's very, very strong of vanilla. So the notes of this fragrance, we have vanilla, of course, cinnamon, woody notes and cloves as well. So honestly, my first impression of this was wow. I thought that I was going to be purchasing this pronto, but as I wore it kind of more, I realised it was too much for me actually. This is a very, very persistent scent, very, very intense, almost like too heady, if you know what I mean. But I think if you're somebody who really enjoys your very heavy, gourmand, sweet vanilla scents, then you should definitely give this one a try, because I do think you would like it. So for example, if you love Rose's Vini, if you love Elisab Girl of Now, if you love Poison Girl, if you love any of those really, really sweet Ariana Grande fragrances, if you enjoy all of that kind of thing and you just love your sweet perfumes, then I think you would really, really like this one, because it is just an intense, you know, crazy strong vanilla scent, really. And it's very, very enjoyable just to sort of spray and smell this right now with you guys. Like, I am really enjoying how this smells right now. But I do remember when I tried this for a full day wear or something like that, and it was just too much. It almost became nauseating to me. So it was a bit too much for me. But I would say, you know, if you love all of those perfumes I mentioned, but if you also love Angel, the original Angel Eau de Parfum from Mugler, if that's the type of fragrance that you really love, then I do think you would like this. So give it a sample, let me know what you think. But this is a very, very, it's going all out. Incredibly sweet, but it's sweet in a tasteful way, but it's too overpowering for me personally, and I find it slightly too much when I'm wearing this, you know, for a full day. But it's very, very nice. And in a similar vein to that fragrance, we have Vanilla Ecstasy, also from Montal. Now, this fragrance has a bit more to it, I believe. So there's apricot blossom, vanilla, lang lang, jasmine, benzoin, sandalwood, resins, and mahogany as well. So I can't remember which one out of these two I preferred. Let me just smell this one. So this one has a bit more going on, I would say. There's more to this, and it's there's more in here tempering that sweetness, whereas in Vanille Absolue it's just incredibly sweet. You know, it's not holding back at all. This one, there is something in here tempering that sweetness. I think I can get some of the kind of creamy apricot. It's almost coming off as slightly peachy to me in a way. No, that is a really nice note in here, actually. I would say perhaps the lang lang, like the slightly medicinal nature of lang lang, maybe that is kind of tempering the sweetness in here. It's a really nice addition of florals in this fragrance to stop it from being just super, you know, a cakey vanilla sort of scent. So this one is a bit more interesting. It does have that benzoin warm base to it with the sandalwood, the resins, the mahogany, so quite a woody base as well to the scent. Yeah, I would say I prefer this one. So this one is Vanilla Ecstasy. I do prefer this one. Vanille Absolue was like a whole other level. It was a very, very strong. Vanille Absolue is almost like the alien of vanilla scents, if you know what I mean. It's just incredibly powerful, bold, sweet, and unapologetically so. This one, Vanilla Ecstasy, this one is a bit more nuanced. It's a bit more complex, and I would say I do enjoy this one more. Would I purchase a full bottle? Perhaps I would, but I want to test this one out a little bit more before I decide, you know, whether or not I'm going to do that. There is another one from Montal, actually, another vanilla one called Vanilla Cake, and I wanted to ask if any of you have tried that one. So the notes of that perfume, we have meringue, milk, vanilla, caramel, and almond. Looking at the notes, it's almost reminding me a little bit of Italica, so I don't know if it's similar to Italica at all. Maybe you could let me know. But I think I do kind of want to try that one as well, just because it sounds really interesting. It sounds very, very sweet and delicious, basically. But that was another one that I kind of noticed. I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds very nice. Next up today we have Vanille Violette from Les Senteurs Gourmands. Notes of this fragrance are violet, Parma violet, powdery notes, vanilla, sugar, mountain air, which sounds very intriguing, rose, and floral notes as well. So this isn't the original bottle. I will insert a picture of the original bottle, but this is my this is a bottle that I purchased from Amazon, and I decanted some into it. So I thought it would look really cute with the purple juice. So I really like this bottle. Now, this is a fragrance that I don't reach for an awful lot, to be honest. It's a very strong violet scent, almost like Parma violets, like the sweets. Upon the first spray, you really get a lot of those Parma violets kind of notes, but then I remember, you know, in the dry down it becomes very sugary, more vanillic, but the vanilla in here, I would say it smells like quite a synthetic vanilla. It's still a nice fragrance, but the vanilla in here, it's reminding me more of like a kind of synthetic vanilla extract type of vanilla with notes of sugar and Parma violets. So I kind of have to be in the mood for this one. It is a really nice fragrance. I would recommend giving it a try if you enjoy violets and if you enjoy really sugary fragrances. You know, I think you might really enjoy this one. There's something almost kind of whimsical about this scent, almost kind of nostalgic for some reason, I don't know why. Like dreamy, kind of like it's reminding me of purple clouds or like purple spun sugar or something like that. But it's really nice. I do have to be in the mood for it. I don't reach for it an awful lot, to be honest with you, but it is a vanilla heavy scent, so I thought it was worth mentioning in today's list. I really like how mine looks in this little bottle. So that is Vanille Violette from Le Centre Gourmands. I've just found my sample of Gentle Fluidity Gold. It was hiding behind this bottle. Yeah, it really reminds me of Roses Vanille. Maybe slightly more herbal, slightly more nuanced and things like that, but it definitely smells a lot to me like Roses Vanille from Mansera. And last up today, I think this is the last one, we have Mon Guerlain Intense. Now this is a stunning take on a vanilla scent. Really, it's something else. So this fragrance has a double dose of vanilla, whereas the original Mon Guerlain just has one kind of vanilla. This one here, it still has that Mon Guerlain aromatic lavender and vanilla combination, but this one is more heavy on the vanilla. It's heavier on those woody notes. There's something very, very soothing about this one. Honestly, this one really is very calming. It's really a beautiful, magical scent to me. This is another one that's been in my collection for probably the longest time. I purchased this before I started my channel actually, and if anything I would say as the time has gone on I've grown to love it more and more, and that doesn't really happen. That happens with a few fragrances, but it doesn't happen all that often. I'm really smelling that Vanille Absolue quite strongly now, the one that I mentioned earlier, the one that I find a bit too much. I would say it gets sweeter the more it dries down and it becomes very, very heady, so I'm smelling that very strongly now. But this fragrance here, this is extremely comforting to me. This is probably the least sweet out of all of these. This one and Dama Bianca, I would say, are a similar level of sweetness in the sense that they're sweet in a very natural, soft way, not in a toothache kind of way, not in a sugary, sweet kind of way at all. This is a very natural smelling fragrance to me and I absolutely love it. Very, very comforting, very, very sophisticated. This has a level of class about it, you know, so if you wanted to give an air of sophistication and maybe, you know, be taken a bit more seriously, then this would be a really fantastic fragrance option. I love this one. I've found as well, kind of as the fragrance dries down, it gets a bit sweeter, you know, and it reminds me of toasted marshmallows. It is just an absolutely gorgeous fragrance, an absolute staple in my collection, and I would definitely repurchase this one as well. I have worn a fair bit of it and I never get tired of it, to be quite honest. So that is the beautiful Mon Guerlain Intense. So we made it to the end, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Those were some really interesting vanilla scents. Let me know in the comments if you own any of these. Let me know what your thoughts are on them. I'd really be interested to hear. Let me know of any other vanilla fragrances that I haven't mentioned. I do quickly have one honourable mention, so that's Black Opium, but I didn't want to make it a full, you know, I didn't really want it to feature too prominently in the video because I know I talk about it a lot in my other videos, but I did quickly want to mention this one. This is another beautiful vanilla and coffee scent. But there were a lot on the list today. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about them. I hope that maybe there were some interesting suggestions for you, and thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then you may also enjoy some of these other videos that I will leave up on the screen here. So thank you again for being here with me today. I truly appreciate you, and I will see you very soon on my next video. Bye!